You thought the personal rivalry between Jade Cargill and Naomi was serious. Well, in today's video, we are going to be looking behind the curtain, behind the scenes in regards to the relationship with Jade Cargill and Naomi. And you are going to want to hear what Jade Cargill had to say about Naomi in a new interview, because a lot of people look at Naomi as the person that got Jade over the hump. She got her to the spot where she needed to be to make her the superstar that we all know that she is. Because while Bianca Belair was a huge, huge part of getting Jade to where she needed to be to help her in her first year in WWE, it was Naomi who I believe got Jade Cargill over the hump as a singles star in WWE, someone in which WWE felt comfortable putting her in the spot that she was in, letting her win the Queen of the Ring tournament and allowing her to go on to SummerSlam and challenge Tiffany Stratton for the women's championship. Because we all know that Jade Cargill was signed by WWE in the fall of 2023 to be the star that she has become. There were expectations, and they were high expectations, and I feel like Jade Cargill has reached those expectations, but it was because of Naomi. Now, of course, everyone is in their feelings these days with Naomi, because you look at a woman who worked her butt off for year and year and year and year in WWE, over a decade with this company. And finally, it was 2025 that cemented her as a top star. Think about it. She did the feud with Jade Cargill. She won Money in the Bank, okay? A feel good moment. She finally tapped into a character in which resonated with fans, that got them connected to her, and doing so in a heel fashion. The first time in her career that she was able to really dive deep into a heel character and be portrayed as a top star, as a heel, and ultimately a champion as a heel. We saw her with the Feel the Glow gimmick where she was women's champion, but this time around we got to see her as a heel. It was a beautiful thing, and there was a lot of praise for her. At a time in which she was at the top of her game, Jade Cargill was also at the top of the game, right? While Naomi was winning Money in the Bank, it was Jade Cargill who had won the Queen of the Ring tournament, while it was Naomi cashing in, stunning the world at Evolution 2, screwing over Io Sky, screwing over Rhea Ripley, and winning the Women's World Championship. It was Jade Cargill preparing herself for the biggest match in her pro wrestling career, challenging Tiffany Stratton for the Women's Championship. Jade and Naomi will always be tied to the hip because of their program. Not only did it elevate Jade to be in the main eventer, but it elevated Naomi to be in a main eventer as well. Now, we know that Naomi is sidelined with her pregnancy. More on that in a minute. But let's look at the interview that Jade Cargill did before Naomi came out with her announcement. She did so on the Rap on Wrestling podcast, and she was asked about working with Naomi, noting that she thinks that Naomi is at the top of her game, and she is. And she also thinks that it's very inspiring. But keep in mind, this was before Naomi came out with her announcement. She said, "Oh, it is so inspiring. I think Naomi gets it. She just gets it. And to see her shed her new skin that no one has seen before, and she was ready to unlock, it's inspiring. The fact that she still loves this business after being in it for so long, because it can become taxing and it can become so much. But she strapped up her boots and she's still pushing and she's still in love with it. And I'm hoping she inspires me to continue to keep on pushing, strap up my boots, and keep pushing when it's time, when things get hard as well." Okay. So very, very inspiring. And I think Jay Cargill learned way more from Naomi than fans realize. Because if you think about it, it's been a situation in which Jade Cargill got to share the ring with Naomi. She got to learn little bitty things here and there. Like, just look at it from this point of view. Not only are you sharing the ring with Naomi, you're sharing the spotlight, the screen time with Naomi. So you're getting a rub there, because Naomi, while she's never been the biggest star, she certainly has a ton of respect from her peers and the fans have witnessed the progression in which Naomi has undergone over, the last 2 years or so. But she also got to learn little things. She got to learn in-ring psychology. She got to learn, okay, I'm sure there was little tricks that Naomi taught her. Oh, I can do this spot here, or I can wait until to do this right here. Little things, right? Because pro wrestling and really just in life, it's always the little things. Details matter. Big details matter, but little details matter the most. And in pro wrestling, I think that is the case, right? So when we talk about Naomi, you get a teacher, you get a fellow star, you get a rub from that star. There was so many different things that Naomi did for Jade. But I also think that Jade did a lot for Naomi because of this feud, because of this character. Naomi was able to grow, and she was actually being able to become the star in which we all know now. And I think that's very important. I think it's very important because I think a lot of people, you know, they need to go back and look at, okay, Naomi was part of the Funkasaurus, um, type faction, right? Her and Cameron and what was it, Brodus Clay? Oh, that was bad. And then she went through the tag team scene, and then she went through just being a single star and just kind of on the roster, not doing anything. She would get pushes every once in a while, and then fans would be like, why are they not doing more with her? And then she transitions and becomes a tag team star with Sasha Banks a few years ago, and they were women's tag team champions, and they were doing a lot of good things with those belts. And then, of course, Naomi and Mercedes, they get into it with Vinnie Mac over creative. They don't like it. They walk out. They're stripped of the women's tag team titles. They actually put the women's tag team titles on the desk of Johnny Ace. And then, they both get their releases and they're gone. And it was a major shock because Naomi obviously been there forever. Her husband works there and everything like that. And so she ended up going to TNA Wrestling and having one of her best runs. I mean, outside of like this year, it was her best run to date, right? And really reinvented herself, really took herself seriously. The promotion got behind her, the fans got behind her. She obviously held the TNA Knockouts Championship, and then she returned to WWE in 2024. Ironically, in the same Royal Rumble match as Jade Cargill. And Naomi returning, that was a big deal, but it wasn't as big as Jade, right? And I think from that moment, these two will always be intertwined. They will always be connected in some way because of the feud and how Naomi returned and how and Jade debuted and everything like that. So I think that's very important to note.